What is a species? Well, truthfully, there is no definitive answer. We know that a tiger and a wolf are different species. First, they're different in their anatomy, metabolic reactions, and molecular structure of their DNA, but you also just can't simply make tiger wolves, although that'd be pretty sweet. Tigers and wolves cannot interbreed with each other. The inability to breed between two groups is called reproductive isolation, and that is the key to speciation, or basically when two species form from an original species. Perhaps the most agreed upon definition for species is a group of naturally interbreeding individuals that can produce fertile offspring. So tigers and wolves simply cannot mate with one another and have babies. Okay, but what about hybrids? Hybrids are formed when two separate species successfully reproduce and make a fertile offspring. Hybrids will either have less fitness than either parent, thereby maintaining reproductive isolation between those parent species, or over time, the hybrid will represent the new species form. In other words, hybrids may represent a speciation event that's just not finished yet. You may be familiar with seeing branching patterns on a tree of life. This was first depicted in Darwin's book On the Origin of Species. And this branching pattern depicts speciation, which can only be made possible when two groups can no longer mate, thus achieving reproductive isolation. Biologists place the mechanisms of reproductive isolation into two broad categories: allopatric speciation and sympatric speciation. Allopatric speciation refers to speciation that occurs due to geographic separation. If two species are physically separated by large distances, such as oceans or over mountain chains, they will not interbreed because they simply cannot come in contact with one another. However, if two species live in the same geographic location, then sympatric speciation mechanisms occur.
Hey!
No.
Let's start with mechanisms involved in allopatric species. Remember, this is speciation due to geographic separation between groups. And the key to any successful speciation event is to disrupt gene flow between populations, which causes the two populations to become reproductively isolated and thus potentially two or more species. There are two forms of allopatric speciation: dispersal and vicariance. Dispersal occurs when a few members break off from a main population and form a new population in a completely different geographic area. And we see this with many island bird and plant species that share ancestry with nearby mainland species due to this mechanism, as they fly or seeds disperse to the new habitat and eventually are cut off from the mainland species. Vicariance is a natural situation where two populations are divided. This division can be due to pieces of land breaking off the mainland, forming islands, the formation of mountains, rivers, and other geographic things. One really example of vicariance is that of Caspian seals, which lived in the landlocked Caspian Sea in Asia. And as you may know, seals are organisms that live in oceans, so how did this species form in the Caspian, hundreds of miles away from another ocean? Genetic testing shows us that Caspian seals likely descended from modern ringed seals, which inhabit waters of the Arctic Ocean. It is likely that during the last ice age, a population of ringed seals made their way into the Caspian Sea via Arctic riverways that once existed. And since the glaciers retreated, Caspian seal populations remain stuck in the Caspian Sea and have become their own species. Although geography makes it easy to achieve reproductive isolation, this can actually still occur when two groups of the same species live in the same geographic location. Mechanisms that form new species in the same geographic location leads to sympatric speciation, and this can further be divided into pre-zygotic and post-zygotic barriers. Pre-zygotic barriers are those that prevent a zygote from being formed between two separate species. Things such as different mating season, courtship behaviors, and even unmatched copulatory structures can prevent two species of organisms from mating with each other.
Squawk. Squawk, 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 squawk.
No.
Squawk.
In the eastern United States, spotted salamanders and marbled salamanders reside in similar habitats, but spotted salamanders only mate in the spring, while marbled salamanders mate in the fall. Subtle changes in pheromones, female susceptibility to males in a population, and even the shape of like a flower can certainly lead to speciation without geographic separation. However, it is entirely possible for two species to successfully mate and produce offspring, but generally the offspring is infertile or had reduced reproductive capabilities, leading to a post-zygotic barrier. And this is why ligers aren't really taking off. Ligers are the result of mating a tiger with a lion. And while this cat is impressive, it is sterile and can't make babies on its own. Sometimes new species can arise through polyploidy, whereby an offspring is born with extra sets of chromosomes. And due to this, the offspring cannot mate with their parent species due to incompatibility, but through self-pollination, it could make offspring itself with those very sets of chromosomes propagating into a new species, if it has the proper genes to allow it to succeed in this environment. It is thought that around half of all plants can trace ancestry back due to polyploidy, but this is often lethal in animals, making this speciation mechanism rare in them. Speciation cannot occur without disrupting gene flow and causing reproductive isolation. So while polyploidy, geography, as well as mechanisms to prevent breeding between two species work to achieve this, it can also be done by changes in the environment. For example, if a population of fish in a lake occurs and they have specific food source, but some members break off and find a food source in deeper waters, it is possible that over time, these two populations can form into two separate species due to their inability to mate with enough changes in their genetic makeup. And so now that we know about how evolution works, why is evolution so misunderstood or even outright denied by some people? In our next video, we will go over some common misconceptions about evolution.